Okay, now you're getting this video for two reasons. One, well, the big reason is I'm inviting you to participate in something extraordinary. But I sent out a couple emails. And so you either read it and didn't read it all the way because there was a little prompt in there. Please respond to me and tell me this is either a fit for you or not a fit for you. And only two people out of the 12 that I sent it to responded back. So I'm sending this video out to you to explain things in greater detail. And I realize that in some ways I'm a bad marketer. It's hard for me to explain what I do and how I do it. But this program is unique. I think I said it was a coaching program, Unleashed and Unstoppable program, 10 weeks. So what is it? It's part coaching program, part skill installment, part teaching. It is teaching you a master skill in how to control, anchor your state, how you're being in the world, and to do so where it's unreasonable, beyond reason. If you decide to feel joy, you can create joy just like that. You're anchored to it. There's a trigger that you install. You're eliciting the states that are alive in you, and it can be just a moment in time, and we can expand on it. People don't see, this is how most people operate in the world. They set a goal, they set an intention, they go after a career or a relationship, thinking that in the pursuit of it, if they get it, then they will feel something amazing. It's kind of an in order to. But what that does is it gives us the experience of always seeking something that we're not, something we just outside of our grasp. So you might get the career and then you're in it, you're working it, and suddenly it doesn't quite feel as good as you thought it would. It's not as satisfying. There's something more out there because, or maybe it's the relationship. Maybe it's not, it's like, it's nice, but it could be something more. Why is that? It's because we think in the attainment of it, then we will feel what we want to feel. The truth is, we need to feel what we want in the beginning before we attract it. Then we will be a natural fit for whatever we're attracting. This is the law of attraction. Neville Goddard said, feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is exactly what that is about. You see, most people think they do, then they have, and then they be. In the doing, they're going to achieve something through the efforting, through the struggle, through the work. Then they're going to achieve something. And then they're going to feel great. They're going to feel accomplishment. They're going to feel success. Rarely does that happen for an extended period of time. It's short-lived because the act does not fulfill it. It's not fulfilled externally. We are fulfilled internally. So if you're in the midst of a storm, how do you find that calm when everything around you is falling apart? How do you live in the eye of the storm? That's a skill set. I learned this over 40 years ago when I first took NLP. We started out with the problem state and then the desired state. And then how do we map from the problem state to the desired state? The state, we realized that it wasn't the attainment of the goal or the intention. It's how did you want to feel on the end of it? Everything that we go after, every goal intention is to arrive at a feeling state. If you can feel those feelings, freedom, clarity, success, power, love, without actually having that stuff, then you are a natural platform to attract all that stuff to you. And there's a sense of satisfaction and joy while you're in the attainment of it. You're not efforting, you're not a perfectionist trying to figure it out and get it all right and do it just so. I used to be a perfectionist to a fault. And now there's a point of satisfaction that I can get to if I meet certain criteria. I don't meet I no longer try and meet the criteria of external, of out there people. This video is a great example of that because I'm stumbling over my words, but I'm trying to convey a message. I'm trying to be the example. So now I realize that I might be rambling. And, it's because I have a certain concept of it, and I fed it into ChatGPT and I said, tell me what my program is about. And I'm going to read to you what it told me, and it's somewhat right. And I'll clean it up where it's off. And it says, this is a clean and precise statement of Unleashed and Unstoppable. Unleashed and Unstoppable is a program that refines the skill set of intentional living. Most people set goals, create intentions, and pursue experiences in order to feel a certain way. Calm, confident, fulfilled, satisfied. This is why so many people are not satisfied in their relationships, because the relationship was in order to be loved, validated. We were seeking all these external things that the relationship couldn't actually deliver. Or it comes close to delivering it and did for a long time, and then we reach a point, it's not quite as exciting as it was. We're not quite as exciting as we were. And so we can bring something to it. Calm, confident, fulfilled, satisfied. This creates a constant state of seeking and an underlying sense of discontentment, because we're always striving. We're always in the process. We're never quite there. You're in the back seat. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And it feels like, in fact, someone just asked me this recently, how is it I ended up where I ended up? I thought I would be further along now. Well, you're where you ended up because of the decisions and how you were being along the way. It brought you to this moment in time. If you're now questioning it, what that requires is being different than you have been in the past. I wanted you to go into 2026 and hit it out of the park with all the tools in place. And that's one reason why I invited you. This is also a smaller part. This is part of a bigger program called the Limitless Human. It is a year-long deep dive in mind mastery, emotional mastery, state management, which this kind of is, unlimited thinking, exponential thinking, and then alignment. How do you align your values, your guiding principles? And then it's the whole ball of wax. It's essentially software for the brain. This is part of that, because state from day to day, see, most people don't choose their state. Their state is given by how they feel or think they feel or what they anticipate encountering that day. They don't design their day in the morning. They don't design the segments of their day. Over the next 2 hours, how do I want to be? How do I want to show up? I get to decide. I get to choose. See, I put this into practice when I started firewalking in 1988. When you're standing at the front of the coals and you got, 10 feet of burning hot 800 degree, 1200 degree coals in front of you, and you're preparing yourself in order to walk, how do you know everything's aligned? How do you know you're congruently a firewalker? Well, it is an inner feeling, and it's based on what you're focusing on. So you can focus on successfully walking. There's a whole process, a strategy that you run through, and then you check in. You check in with your body, and do you feel the pull? Do you feel the pull of the intention or the other side? If you're feeling the fear, you're focusing on the obstacle. And so this is a constant feedback loop. How you feel is not important, but how you feel is valid for the given moment. It's valid based on what you're focusing on, what you're thinking about, what you're saying to yourself, what you're picturing in your head. So at any given moment, how you feel is a valid response, but it's not that important, really. Feelings are fleeting. And if we feel a particular way about something out there, or an offer, or a projected experience, or a past experience, It's our interpretation of that that's giving us our feeling. It may not necessarily be the event. And when if you dive into intuitive guidance, I'm using a lot of hand gestures, but if you dive in intuitive guidance, you check in, is this feeling me or is it someone else? Is this belong to me? Does it informed through wisdom or is it informed through fear? Two different, like intuition is not guided by fear. Fear is a call to pay attention. Now, one of the things in the program, we do deal with fear. As, I've walked on fire almost 600 times, led hundreds of people across the hot coals. And originally, when I would tell people that I was a firewalk instructor, they would say, why would anyone do that? Why indeed? Well, that stumped me. It totally stumped me because I never thought to ask that question. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to walk on fire? It's not why would you? It's why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to experience an aspect of yourself that is rarely called into being on the day-to-day, to step up and rise to the occasion, to pull something out of you that's rarely in demand from the day-to-day, to experience a part of you, to discover your potential? That alivened me. Like, why wouldn't you want to walk on fire? I thought about things differently. I was attracted, but I knew that there was something in it for me. And that's why I became a firewalk instructor. In the beginning, I was just, someone else guided me across the coals. And it was dissatisfying. The very first walk I did with Tony Robbins, and it was kind of good. I didn't know quite how to process it that night. And then over the next few days, I started discounting it. It was too easy. And someone had told me when to go. And I realized later, she robbed me of that choice to meet fear, overcome fear. You're ready, go. Well, it's an assembly line. It's fast food, firewalking with Tony Robbins. And so later, 2 years later, I sought out another firewalker, and the fire was much hotter. And it was a cord of wood, like 4 feet high, that was burned down over the course of 4 hours. And then the big chunks were taken out and kind of pulled to the side. And there was about this much, a bed of coals, over 7 inches. And I can remember as I stepped into it, my feet would sink into the coals, they'd cover on the top, and I'd keep walking, of course. But I got to say, there was 2 things that I told myself about that firewalk. I wanted a conscious experience of it. And so I realized that whatever I'm consciously aware of in any given moment is a gift from our other than conscious mind. So I asked my unconscious to give me an appreciation of the firewalk, which I didn't have the first time. And then I also wanted to decide, know when I was ready. I was able to stand there and determine that I was ready to go. And I almost didn't walk until the firewalk instructor said, go to the back of the line. You're not ready. It's like, you're not telling me I'm not ready. And so I took the step. That was the perfect, you can't do that. That is a way to engage me. And so my wife just texted me. And then I walked, and then I celebrated. That was so powerful, that firewalk, because I got to choose and I got to create how I felt inside. Over the next 40 years, that creation, choosing my state, knowing when I was ready, checking in, everything's aligned. And it trained me to do that in every other area of my life. When I took NLP, you can elicit a state, and that's what we would do in this program. We would identify courage and confidence. They're 2 separate things. Confidence you get after the fact. It's a skill that you train. And once you you don't know if you can tie your shoe. And it's not until you tie your shoe and you do it 2 or 3 times. Oh yeah, I can tie my shoe. That's confidence. But then there's courage to do something that you're unsure about. You could fail. How do you get yourself to take the step? Why do firemen run into a burning building? It's not logical. It's something greater that they're moving towards. They want to save a human life. They want to save property. It's part of their contribution. So, what else? Clarity, excitement, motivation, relationship to fear. We'll talk about that. And I have a philosophy called the art of living dangerously. It's how to feel comfortable, feeling a little uncomfortable as you push the boundaries of your comfort zone. Love. How do you embody love? Not just do love, do loving things. How do you embody it? How do you fall in love with life? How do you get excited about the day? Unleashed. Like unleash yourself, unleash your emotions so you're fully engaged with life. My wife has a particular tone, and it's the bird song. I'm not going to check, but I want to check. So, my love just told me that there's dinner. How do you love, like, be a participant in life and not a spectator? You want to be on the court. You want to be you don't want to be in the stands. You don't want to be a spectator on, an armchair quarterback. You want to be engaged in life. Joy, satisfaction, clarity, be the boss. I had a client early on. She was an accountant. She had developed a software program using Excel, very simple. Yet it was revolutionary for the time, and she was making thousands and thousands of dollars a month. But there was a disconnect. She felt like a, what's the word? Imposter. She felt like an imposter. She was insecure in her role. She wasn't being a CEO. Early on, I was not being a CEO. I was a coach. I was learning how to coach, and coaches don't make money. But then I became a CEO, embodied. If I was, and then I had, over the last 2 years, I decided to upscale. Like I had to be different, rise to the occasion of a bigger plan, a bigger role out in the marketplace. And so I've developed 5 distinct frameworks around emotional intelligence, identity. I'm literally rewriting the textbooks in psychology about identity. It's going to be very exciting what's going to come out over the next year. So I have all this. I have 36 years, 40 years of experience in coaching and personal development. That's what's behind this. And part of me thought, well, I just tell you that you get a chance to work with me. And of course, you're going to rise up to the occasion. So I'm going to tell you right now, because I really didn't want this to be a marketing message. And so I'm going to tell you how much I'm asking you to invest. And that's $3,000. This is going out to the public, and it's $3,700. And part of what you get, because you've worked with me before, it's not a special. It's because I love you. It's because I like working with you. And so part of that is 3 one-on-one sessions, integrating the process into your life. That's included. Out in the public, it's over $5,500 if they want the one-on-one sessions. It's just a higher level of service. So that's included. The 10 weeks of the program will talk about the psychosomatic loop. How you use your mind affects your body. How you move your body affects your mind. And the fastest way to shift your emotions is through your body. And there's a distinct process on how we do that. As I said, we elicit the emotion because those emotions are in you. They're attached to different memories. And so in the front end, it's a little more work. We just have to identify the different processes, and there's different aspects of the memory. What are you picturing? How are you picturing it? How are you breathing? How are you holding yourself? Where do you feel the emotion? And then we'll amplify it. That's the beauty of this. You can amplify love by focusing on amplifying it. You can amplify joy. You can amplify anger if you want. Now, there is an advantage point. Well, once we elicit it, we'll anchor it. And what an anchor is a word, a cue, a touch. It can be visual, it can be spatial, it can be temporal. So I've anchored myself all around my body. For me to get excited, it's like, yes. And I can, like, raising your hand above your head. I've anchored riding roller coasters to this. And yes. And then there's a whole woo as I go down the hill. Like I'm starting to get excited right now just by doing, I'm firing the anchor. This becomes an association, a trigger, a cue that signals my internal process to fire up that emotion, fire up that feeling. And what I'm firing up is the biochemistry. I'm actually altering my biochemistry. See, this is a master skill. Most people wait for life to happen to them in order to feel good. I'm telling you that you can be the architect of your life, the architect of your identity. You can be in command. You can process grief and disappointment in short order. It's honoring the whole process, but you don't have to get lost in it. It's a master skill. There's a way to shift your state each and every day. I have created a protocol, how to design your day, how to design the segment. Here's another thing that I did. See, people don't even realize that you can take these states and then stack them. So you have joy. And like in my fist for firewalking, I have joy, confidence, power, excitement, interest, clarity. All that's there. There's a way to create a spatial. We'll create an imaginary circle on the floor. And you walk up to it, and then you decide once you step into it, you're going to fire that anchor and then feel all those feelings and have it amplified because of the circle. And you feel it, and then we do a pattern interrupt. You see, how you are right now, how you are day to day is nothing more than a collection of patterns, learned behavior. It's not consciously chosen by and large. When we start designing your day, designing segments of your day, so sometimes I have speaking engagements. How do I step up on stage full of excitement, full of clarity, remember everything, not be like caught up into the circumstances? Let's say that I'm on my way to a speaking engagement and there's all kinds of traffic and there's an accident and I'm delayed and I'm running behind. Do I get caught up in all that angst? I'm fueling it by saying something's wrong with this. How do I drop that once I get there and step into it? And it's as if that other stuff never happened. It's all through state control. It's almost like magic. And ChatGPT said not to refer, it doesn't like when I refer to the mysticism. So this program reverses the model of seeking. Participants are trained to generate and live from the states they choose, independent of external circumstances, feedback, or justification. They learn how to be the person they choose to be first, and then allow life to organize from there. It's a be, do, have. How you're being, and my definition of being is the totality of how you show up. Like when you step into the room, what just came in? I cannot go in a room. If I'm on fire, so to speak, I cannot step in the room and not have people turn their head because they feel the energy come in. I'll step to the door and sometimes I'll pause and I'll look around, surveying the domain I'm about to enter. And because of how I'm being when I walk in, I will turn 3, 4, 5, half a dozen heads. Somebody, well, no, someone just arrived. And it's not bravado. It's not, I just decide to have the presence worth showing up with and to own my experience. Love me or hate me, not many people can ignore me. And that's just something I say to myself. And it's been true over the years. So what else? What the program actually trains. Unleashing Unstoppable develops the ability to identify internal states accurately. Yeah, you can actually tune in. How do I feel? What's the contrast? Is this a feeling I want to go with, or do I want to choose something differently? The ability to elicit and amplify chosen states deliberately. The ability to anchor those states So if you watch HBO, there's the ta-da, and I have played that in workshops. And I want people to raise their hand and they tell me, what is that sound anchored to? And it's anchored to Sex and the City. It's anchored to like all these different shows. Whatever the person was most attracted to, that became the anchor. You've all listened to my podcast. I specifically selected the music and the ending as anchors. It anchors the beginning. It gets people prepared to listen. It feels good just to hear the music, and there's a predictable ending. Follow your bliss. Live your life from inner signals. Be inner directed as you engage in the. This is what this is about. It's the epic adventure is your life. It's living from inner signals, being inner directed and following your bliss, loving life. So this is the essence of every time I end the show, the essence of those statements. I'm not going to read any more of this, but the transformation, what it sets up for you, and hopefully the excitement is coming across. What it makes available to you is you can live your life on demand, intentionally. You create your day. You don't have bad days unless you choose to have bad days. Sometimes it's a perfectly good choice to have a bad day, to have a less than stellar day. Sometimes you don't feel like getting all the ducks in a row or getting them all to fly in formation. Sometimes you need a day of recovery. Even that state is chosen. How do you relax? How do you let it all go? Letting go. Letting go of all the tension, of all the have tos, all the shoulds is a skill set. Letting go is one of the most powerful things you can do in your life because there's so much we take on that we don't need to. You're going to learn the 4 types of events that cause stress. Well, there's 4 different events in life. 2 of them cause distress every time. And it's essentially trying to control the uncontrollable. There are things that we cannot control, but we think we should. High degree of distress. And so there's an operating question. What is mine to do? And then you have the choice. The ultimate freedom is you can always choose your response. So am I going to continue to hang on to this, or can I let it go? Overthinking, overanalyzing can be let go just like that, because that is a state of mind. And if it's something you engage in on a regular basis, it's a conditioned state and it's anchored. You receive cues from your environment to tell you when to overthink, when to, like my son right now, my oldest son is chronic overthinker in a relationship. He wants to get it right. He doesn't want to do it wrong. Like, did I do it wrong? I said, get out of your head and ask her. Like, ask the question. Don't hallucinate. See, we always think the worst thing in our mind. I just spent 12 weeks with one of the people on this, and she's done tremendous in dropping it and asking the question, what is mine to do? What is mine to do in this? And she doesn't try and control the uncontrollable anymore. If she does, she catches herself. That's the beauty of it. You get to catch yourself. I could go on. And hopefully the gist of the energy of the program, there's something valuable here for you that I would want you to be a part of. And you get to decide, this isn't for me, I don't want this, or I got other things going on. But if you have a lot going on in your life, this could be the perfect time to navigate it, to manage it. Sometimes we contract, and I teach this in the program, expansion and contraction. We're always sitting on the fence. We're leaning towards the defense. Our cellular body is asking the question, are we in defense or am I in growth? Am I in fear or am I in love? And sometimes it feels like we're making good decisions, but we're leaning towards defense. We start to contract. We start to isolate ourselves a little bit. We try and contain our life instead of expand our life. we tend to say, I don't have the money, or I'm putting it to other places. And of course, we all have our priorities. But there's also this other side. When we're expansive, it's like it doesn't feel like a risk. It feels like an investment in ourselves, an investment in our future. And that's the only way I want you to feel as you move ahead with the program. I want you to see it as an investment in your future, an investment in yourself, in your future happiness, satisfaction, and joy. Those are some of the states that we anchor there. I have done all this myself. I'm the case study on this. My life is invented. I'm shy. I'm originally shy. I was constrained. I was drawn. I learned to be an extrovert. I anchored these states. And that's the thing. Shakespeare said, assume a virtue if you have it not. So I assumed the state of being outgoing, of asking questions, of being engaging. I'm a learned extrovert. I recover myself by isolating. This is my office. I have a chair over there that I'll sit in and meditate. This room is somewhat soundproofed, heavy curtains, got a big carpet thing here, which absorbs sound, acoustic panels. Like there's a drop in the acoustics once you step into this room. This is my sanctuary. But I used to go days, a week or two, 3 weeks, and not see anybody. Now I start biting at the bit. I want to talk to people. I want to engage with people. I'll go to the store and I'll ask questions, and I'll talk to the cashiers, which they don't usually like. But I'll talk to them non-verbally. I'll talk to them other than consciously first, get their attention, gaining rapport, which is something we can teach down the road, not necessarily in this program. Oh, we will teach it in the Limitless Human. So if you're interested in nonverbal communication and all the intricacies in that, that's down the road for you. So tuition is $3,000. There's a link associated with this where you can pay up front. There's a financing opportunity to finance it, and you work out, it's a lower monthly payment. It can be over 2 years, 2.5 years. You can put down a down payment for now to secure your spot. Now, the down payment is not refundable, because once you put the down payment in, you're taking that spot away from somebody else. If you can't engage in the program, we will put you in the program later. So just that $1,500 deposit is securing your spot, securing your price. Anything more? If you have any questions, reach out and talk to me. We can talk about your unique situation, anything you want to like conjure up. I believe life is created. It's an invented process. Who you are, oh, here's something. A lot of people have been talking about that we're living in a computer program, a computer simulation, kind of like the Matrix. I never bought that. And it just hit me why I don't buy it. Our self-identity is the simulation. Our self-identity is the Matrix. It's not real. It's invented. We have adopted different mindsets, perspectives, filters, beliefs, and that creates the reality around us. When you start being a certain way, life starts aligning to how you're being. I think it was Emerson said that he said, I can't hear what you're saying because who you're being speaks so loudly. It's the 93% of the communication that shows up is how you're being. How engaged are you? You can't fake that. You can act as if. And when you act as if, you align your head with your heart and your body in a congruent expression. You cannot not be noticed. You cannot not make an impact. So I want to work with you. Do you want to work with me? I realize it's the holidays, it's the end of the year. It's the time to connect right now. We'll get the first lesson out. I'll give you the framework. We'll talk about the psychosomatic loop, the anchoring process. I've already given you more information than I've given some of the other people. Hopefully it's not too much. I wanted this to be short, and it probably went over short. So I think you have enough there to make a decision to move forward. Give me a call, send me an email, make the payment, and then I'll automatically know, or say I need to work something out. Either way, I would like you in my circle. And there's already 4 people involved. They're in the Limitless program. They got enrolled last fall. They're already in. And I don't want any more than 10 people. So that really only leaves 6 people. And not all 6 is going to come from here. But I'm not going to wait for you to come in. So raise your hand as soon as you know, which as soon as, like today, tomorrow, the next day. Thanks.